Hello and welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by founder of AttractWell, Greg Kilway. Greg,
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today.
we're really excited to have you here today where we're going to be talking about one thing that your business needs that you're probably not using. And if you are, it's very likely you're not using it enough. Today we're talking about proof and specifically how we can use case studies and testimonials to generate proof and share it so that you can get more new clients and, of course, fill your pipeline with great new leads. Excited to get into this with you guys here today. We're going to be talking not just about how to generate your case studies and testimonials, but also a couple of very specific features in AttractWell that I want to encourage you to use so that you can get these things done to streamline the process of creating these resources. And of course, ever so critically, getting yourself set up to share them appropriately so that you can make the most of this proof and all it can do for your business. As you're coming in, head over into the chat. Let us know where you're coming in from, what you do, who do you serve, how do you help them. We're always looking to learn more about the incredible folks that join us here on these calls. So go ahead, head over to the chat, say hello. Greg and I are going to pop out a video so that we can get into our content for this week's office hours. All right, so today we are talking about how to generate and use case studies and testimonials to grow your business. So today we're going to talk about what it looks like to generate proof from your client work. And we're going to talk about the tools in AttractWell that you can use to capture and collect case study and testimonial data. We'll then talk about how to share and publish case studies and testimonials to use in your marketing, again, using AttractWell's features. And then we'll get into live help and Q&A. Now, this call is not just for coaches. This is also for you if you are a service provider. And this can also work really well for you if you offer courses or things that you sell. If you have something that you offer that is supposed to cause some type of improvement or transformation in the life or business or circumstances of your client, this is going to be applicable to you here today. I know the majority of folks who are working with us are coaches in some capacity, so we are going to be leaning a little bit into that. But if you have questions and would like to provide some context to your individual situation, please use the Q&A here on the live call so that we can do that. So if you do have questions that pertain to topics other than today's, or if you just want to go ahead and get your question in because you know you have it, add that to the Q&A now. It's a great opportunity here on these live calls. We host every Thursday at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time. Allows you an opportunity to get maybe a little bit more nuance in the answers that you're looking for, or if you're struggling with finding the answers that you seek, we can help you find them a little bit more quickly than you might on your own. So go ahead and add those to the Q&A. We look forward to hearing from you. And if you are on this call, watching this as a replay rather, if you're watching this on YouTube as a replay, head over to attractwell.com/office hours if you haven't already to make sure you are on our list to join these live calls. And of course, be the first to get resources and replays from them. Another great benefit of joining us live at the 2 p.m. hour, US Eastern, 2 o'clock every week on Thursdays, is that you have the opportunity to work together live with us as well. No matter what it is, if it pertains to using your AttractWell website, this is a free opportunity to have review of the work that you're doing, get feedback on processes, and to just to generally help you make better use of your system. So if you would like to work together, you can reserve your own spot in the latter half of this call. So this is a 1 hour call, and we reserve the second half of the call for these work reviews. So be sure to sign up for that for an upcoming Thursday if you would like to work together live. And if you would like to hand off this work for someone else to do it for you, that's possible as well. AttractWell.com/concierge is where you want to go if you want to hear from our team, see what they've done, and of course, reach out and get in touch to hop on a no obligation call with them to explore the project you have in mind. Now, head over into the chat. Let me know, what kind of proof are you using? When you think about how you show leads that you know what you're talking about, what proof are you showing? Do you have maybe maybe you have some screenshots from feedback from clients, from social media. Maybe you've got some written testimonials. What does that look like for you? So what kind of proof are you using to show that what you're offering works? And how do you share it? Are you putting it on your website? Are you sending it via email? Where is that going out? And then finally, how often are you sharing that proof? Do you have proof? What does it look like? And where are you putting it? How often? So at the end of the day, because we know what we're talking about, right? Everybody here is an expert in something. And so you create courses, programs, right? You coach, you provide services. We all know how to tell people about what it is that we do, right? But what does it look like to show that what we do works? We know we're good at this, but how do we prove it? So there are three basic elements of proof. The first are our presenting circumstances. So that's going to be our problem, our symptom, our goal that's presenting by the person who has the problem. Then there's the solution. So this might be products, protocols, combination of the two. It might be, a proprietary protocol that you have developed, which is quite often the case if you are a coach, a consultant, a course creator. And then finally, we have the results of taking that person, presenting those circumstances, applying that solution. We have the results of our problem solved, our symptoms relieved, our goals achieved. This is the construction of proof. We need to have circumstances and context to start. We need a thing that we did. And then, of course, what happened after we did that thing. So this proof specifically shows up in your business as case studies and testimonials. That is how we show proof in what we do, because we can tell people all day that we're good at what we do, but that will never do anywhere near as much for us as someone that we have helped in their own words or their own story, for you being able to show for that person, I did this, right? I helped this person achieve this thing, right? So a case study ultimately is the meat of this, right? This is the details, it's the context, it's the steps, it is the narrative. And a testimonial is really just a derivative of that, right? It's an easily shared story, often delivered in maybe a little bit of an anecdotal fashion, maybe somebody saying how they feel about how something went, right? So a testimonial, I want you to think of as being derivative of a case study. And a case study really just is the collection of all of the data related to those concepts of proof, right? Our presenting circumstances, the steps we're following to solve a problem, and then, of course, the achievement of the solution. Now, if you aren't currently using case studies, I want to make a case for you today to start creating them. Now, if you are a coach, and that is how you run your business by and large, this is going to be really easy for you because it fits into the model that you're probably already using. It will take just a simple slight adjustment from what you're already doing to be able to do this. And if you aren't using coaching as a primary means of showing proof, or sorry, of delivering value, the way that we show proof and collect the proof for that is not going to be wildly different from this either. It's actually just going to be a simplified version of what I share for coaches, which is going to be the main example I share here right now. So case for case studies. First, instead of just getting someone's anecdotal blurb in their own words from someone who is not a copywriter, you're going to get the whole story, which then makes you someone holding a much more adaptable tool for storytelling and marketing and communicating proof that what you do works. And at the end of the day, it is just about as easy and simple to obtain as a testimonial. And I would argue that if you have the whole story, if you have the case study, you can have multiple testimonials attached to it, right? So what's in a case study? The first thing that we have is an introduction to our customer or client. And this gives context, right? So who is this person? What are the surrounding circumstances? Or this could also be a business if you're B2B. Then, of course, there is a problem, a symptom, or a goal that you are helping them to solve, relieve, or achieve. Then you have your solution. So this is your process, your protocols, or your course, if you offer a course. And then you have ultimately the results of having applied the solution, solving the goal, solving the problem, achieving the goal. And then ultimately you've got the summary of what happened here, right? And so that's our data of the before and after the application of your solution. Now let's talk about how to build one of these because it's really not complicated. And again, if you're already coaching or doing any kind of intake and outtake gathering of information from people who engage with what you sell, you've got most of what you need to be able to build case studies so that you can have loads of proof from lots of different use cases to create incredible marketing and sell what you do more widely. So the first thing we need to do to create a case study is to define the problem and its context. So who is the person that has the problem, or so this would be the business that has the problem, the individual that has the problem, and then any basic presenting info. So think for a moment, maybe if you are a wellness coach, this might be a 38-year-old woman who has 3 kids, right? And after her 3rd kid, she can't really sleep through the night anymore. Something's happened in her body and it's just not working, right? Maybe this is a business. So this is a business. They are a startup, right? So they are in their 2nd year. They have not yet crossed the $1 million threshold in their sales. They have 2 employees, right? So think about the presenting circumstances that are relevant to the business you run. Who's the person who has the problem? And then what is the problem? Right? What is the problem that needs to be solved? Then you want to get a little bit deeper here. So it's not just that this mom of 3 needs to sleep through the night and she's struggling with sleep. It's the bigger story, right? So how long has she had this problem? Why does this problem need to be solved? Right? So where does this sit maybe in the greater context of the achievement of their goals? Whether again, this be individual or business, and what has been tried, right? What has this person or this entity tried to affect a solution regarding this problem so far? And are there downstream problems, right? Is because of this problem, are there others? You want to get the whole picture here because again, we are looking to create a whole story because in the whole story, you actually get a lot more than just the beginning and the end, right? And then finally, we want to get the implications of this. So what will happen if this problem isn't solved? So what I recommend that you do first, and this is for everyone listening here, no matter what it is that you sell, have some kind of an intake form that you present to new clients. Reframe these questions, right? Tell me more about you. So you're going to want to ask some more direct questions based on who you know your individual buyer to be. Maybe have them list some details about themselves and their presenting circumstances. Ask them to describe the problem, the main problem that they see they have, and to characterize it. Tell you how long it's been that they've had it. Why they're motivated to solve this problem right now, what they've tried, if there are other problems that they have that have come as a result of having this one, and of course, what's going to be the cost of not getting this figured out. Create a form, an intake form for your new clients using AttractWell pages and send this out before they start working with you. So the best way to get testimonials and case studies is to work this in structurally to how you do your work. And that begins with gathering data at the outset. So I do have an additional training. Highly recommend that you check this out if you haven't done so already. I'll do a brief overview of what this looks like after we're done with our slides here today. But in Pages, in AttractWell, under the Leads tab, you can create custom forms. This isn't just about generating leads. You can also use these forms for a number of different purposes, including intake surveys like the one I've just described. So do that, and you will be able to gather that data from your client. All right. So the next thing we want to do is outline the solution. So we need to determine what the steps are that we are going to follow in order for them to see that problem solved. So what actions are going to be taken at what intervals to achieve that desired result. And then we want to make sure, because this is a case study and something that we really want to present as something more than just a lightweight or broad or generalized anecdote, we want to be able to point to numbers. We want trackable metrics. Okay, so establish what those things might be for your client. And again, if you're asking those questions that I've outlined previously, you're going to be able to see what those trackable metrics are going to be. So depending on what the problem is and how you know to solve the problem, there are certain quantities of activities at certain intervals that need to be undertaken in order to achieve the results that they're looking for. Track those things and track the outcomes, right? Because there are micro wins along the way, and we're looking for those. So we're going to track the progress toward our goal. You can, of course, use those page forms to collect their sort of narrative input. So let's just say, for instance, you have a 6-call package. You're meeting once a month for 6 months, or you're meeting once a week for 6 weeks, whatever that looks like. You may have a different page and page form that you have them fill out prior to each call so that you can get their narrative input, right? So they aren't just saying, I did this many times. They're actually maybe giving you some more qualitative answers, right? So they're maybe describing things to you in ways that might be useful for you, more so than just collecting raw numbers. Then, of course, you're going to meet your client at set intervals, or if you sell courses, they're going to go through your course, right? And then you're going to capture that information potentially in the progress tracker section of the contact card. So if you are someone who is coaching or consulting and you're meeting on a consistent basis one-on-one, then you're going to open up their contact card and put information into their progress tracker, right? If you're selling courses, I just recommend using the page forms to collect their input. That's going to be the simplest way to get them to engage. You can use campaigns to send that out automatically. But if you're a coach or a consultant, a service provider, and you want to track these metrics with someone you're working with one-on-one or with an organization you're working with privately, then you're going to want to use that progress tracker. You can put those in on the contact card, or if you have a member area that your client has access to in their account page on the member area, they can actually track their own metrics as well. And if you want to learn more about tracking metrics using the progress tracker in AttractWell, you can click on this guy. All you have to look up on our YouTube channel or in our replays tab of our AttractWell Success Academy is Progress Tracker, and you'll be able to find this additional training. Again, I'll do a brief overview of this at the close of this training as well. And remember, as you're tracking these metrics that matter, the story isn't always about the ending, right? This is a journey. And the wins that you see along the way are revealing. And those are reasons to get out there and share proof. One of the best things that you can do when you're emailing your list once a week, which I hope you are currently emailing your list once a week, is to send out a story of a client who got a result. It's exciting, it's of the moment, and it's very likely going to be a welcome thing to hear for people who are on your list, because they probably share a lot in common with the client whose story you're sharing, right? So that client may have decided that they are undertaking a very large goal or project with you. But what they find along the way is that there are some life-changing or business-changing circumstances that arise that are purely as a result of doing the work that they set out to do with you. So just for example, if you are like Peggy, for instance, she helps people to lose weight, lower blood sugar, cholesterol, et cetera. If somebody came to Peggy and said, you know, Peggy, I have been told by my doctor that I'm pre-diabetic and I want to do something about that. You know, I don't want that to be something that I have to deal with for the rest of my life. Apparently, I'm at a place where this is reversible. Peggy starts working with them, and their big goal is to get their numbers in order, right? Their big goal is to get their numbers in order, but there are other things that happen in the process. And so what Peggy is going to be doing is tracking things like their food, their intake of food, water, supplements, things like sleep, activity, etc. But there's this byproduct that's going to happen where, let's just say, for instance, they're coming to her and saying, I need to lose some weight, lower blood sugar and cholesterol. Well, they didn't think that their joint pain was related to these things. And because of what she's doing and the things that they're tracking, their inflammation is going down. And so when they come to her and say that, you know, I've been struggling with pain in my hip for the last 10 years. And since we've started working together, I don't have that pain anymore. That's not a metric that you are looking for, but it's one that your people are going to absolutely love to hear. And the people with that hip pain who didn't think that that was associated with their, their path to change their diet, they are going to perk their ears up and listen, right? And that's just one example, right? So when you find a win, you have a story to share, and you have to be tracking the metrics if you want to find those wins. And often it's the wins that you weren't even looking for that are the ones that will make people jump onto a call with you and say, yes, where do I pay? All right, so let's talk about how we construct these case studies. So first, we've got our introduction to our customer or client, right? So this is who they are, their surrounding circumstances. We name their problem as they say it. We outline the solution that we've used. And of course, we talk about the result. What is the result that's reached in what time? And include those micro wins. Within 1 week, hip pain vanished. Within 2 weeks, sleeping through the night. Within 3 weeks, sleep score is consistently at 85% or higher on a nightly basis, right? And you're going to use those metrics that you track. So if you are a wellness coach of any kind, please leverage wearables and the data that's collected from them, because that's proof, right? That is proof that is easy to find. You don't have to go and invent a device. Those devices are already tracking that stuff for you, and you can help them make sense of the data that they have access to if they're using smart devices, right? Those metrics matter, and they show proof in a way that providing just simple anecdotal evidence does not. All right, so let's give an example here. A problem with context. So Jeannie is a 38-year-old mom of three with a busy, she's a busy professional. She also has a busy social and home life. And ever since baby number 3 was born, she can't sleep through the night. She's got additional stress and weight gain that she's dealing with as a result. And she's just generally feeling down about herself. And this is impacting her work. And some of her labs show concerning imbalances in cortisol levels. So our solution, wellness coach, we've got a morning supplement protocol. We've got a prescribed yoga sequence that we're going to do every morning, and we are banning coffee before 9 a.m. We're turning off screens and using aromatherapy an hour before bed. And we have prescribed and taught a mindfulness meditation that we're going to use every night before we go to bed. Now, the metrics that we're tracking, she has a wearable device. So, whether that be an Apple Watch, Fitbit, or a Ring, whatever. If your client doesn't have one of these, old pen and paper and scale of 1 to 10 is perfectly fine to start. All right. Track mood, sleep score, weight, and the daily checklist, which is, did I do all of the things that we've just listed here? Right? Did I take the supplements? Did I do the yoga? Did I do coffee after 9 a.m., et cetera? Okay. And then for the results, after 1 week of following this protocol, she reported feeling better on waking. So her mood was up 5 out of 7 days. After 2 weeks, her sleep score improved 25% day over day. And after 6 weeks, her sleep score average was 95%. So she's sleeping almost perfectly after 6 weeks. And her mood was up 80%. She's still dealing with some stress from work. She also lost 15 pounds, which wasn't a goal. But hey, bonus. All she did was a little bit of yoga and got some good sleep. So now that you have this information, what do you do with it? So when you have proof, first thing you want to do, if this is a one-on-one client, or really in any case, the first time you see proof from a client is ask for referrals. Do you know anybody else who needs this? Let's help someone else get results like you just got. If you're a network marketer, this is an unskippable step. By the way, if you offer health and wellness products, do not skip this step. Do you know anybody else who needs this? But you could also absolutely use this for referrals, no matter what it is that you sell or do. Then you want to make sure that you capture the story in their words. A screen grab of them in social media or a text message is awesome for this. You want to be able to have some version of this in their words that you can use as a testimonial in different places. And then when you are, say, on calls with leads, you could reference case studies. And this is where it becomes so important for you to not just have testimonials, but to have the whole story data of case studies. Because when you are talking to this lead who, maybe isn't a mom, but she's a realtor, right? So this, the client that I just used in the example, let's say she's a realtor. Well, the next time you're speaking to a realtor, you can say, well, I actually have a realtor client and I helped her get X, Y, and Z result. Maybe you speak to someone else who's looking to lose 15 pounds and you can say, you know what, I had a client lose 15 pounds on accident just by following my protocol, right? So there are different elements of this that you can introduce as a means of closing the deal with different leads. Again, it's because you have the whole story. Now, when you have this whole story, you want to create a saved reply in AttractWell. This is going to allow you to plug this story in or elements of it into email broadcasts, one-on-one emails to leads. You can put this into blog posts to make little blurbs about these stories. You can put them into your online class lessons. Saved replies are a fantastic modular feature in AttractWell that can be used in a lot of different ways. And then in pages in AttractWell, you can create a testimonial section. So we'll use a page in AttractWell to create a page and then to put your testimonial on it so that you can insert it into other pages where you would like to use it. And then you can also, and I won't be going over this on today's call, you can also create graphics in Canva to use on social media, to create your Instagram posts, etc., where you're sharing that case study and information from those wins that you're getting from your clients. So let's take a quick look at saved replies. So again, saved replies, really great feature in AttractWell that you can use in a lot of different ways. When you create your saved reply, I want you to title the saved reply with searchable keywords related to the problem or the profile of the client, maybe even including the client name or the name of the protocol that you're using with that client. Just anything that you can use internally to be able to easily and quickly find that saved reply so that you can use it where you want to use it. And in saved replies, it's automatically set up for you to be able to use it as an email. So there's a subject line there. We're going to skip that. And just in the paragraph or in the body section, we're going to format our copy to be a paragraph or other type of formatting that outlines this case study or displays the testimonial from your client. And then once you have this made, you can add this to your campaign messages. If you're wanting to sell your program or your offer, you can put this in broadcast when you're mailing your list on a weekly basis. You can put this in newsletters. You could even, again, add it to class lessons or blog posts, anywhere you see saved replies being able to be added to something in your system. All right, so saved replies in AttractWell, you're going to find down here under your content library. So when we go here, we can go and create a new one by clicking add. And again, in this case, I'm going to say I'm going to say case study because that's what this is. And this is a realtor and she's having issues with sleep, stress, weight loss. And then I did a yoga supplement protocol, right? This is just related to what I just did. Nobody's going to see this but you. So use words here that you can go and put into your search bar or drag down or search here in saved replies to be able to pop in wherever you need to use it, right? You need to be able to type in case study or type in realtor or type in stress or whatever the keyword is so that you can find it. So use keywords for that purpose. And then in the body here, you're actually going to put the narrative of that case study. So Rebecca is a mom of 3, right? So I'm not going to type all this out here. So I'm going to give this whole section, this is going to be my case study, right? So here's all of my data, right? And so when I create this saved reply, again, no subject line, I can easily go and let's just say, for instance, I'm going to send a broadcast to my list. I can go to my dashboard here and I'm going to send off an email to my mailing list. So I'm going to go to my newsletter list. I'm going to write an email and I can just go right here, put my cursor where I want the saved reply to go. So I'm going to say, what's new this week? And put any information here that I want to, but then I want to pop that saved reply in here. And so I'm going to look up my realtor. There it is. And it's just going to pop that right in here where I want it, right? Or in this case, it actually popped in above where I wanted it. No big deal. I can move that around. All right. So now I can just drop this in wherever I want it. Same thing with a campaign message. You want to pop in a testimonial, you want to pop in a case study, you can do that where it's most relevant, right? Okay, so that's our saved reply option. And getting back to our presentation here, the next thing that we want to consider doing is creating page sections in AttractWell. And these are actually individual pages in AttractWell that you'll be using to copy into sections. So pages in AttractWell, what you're going to do is create a new page. We're going to title it similarly to what we just did. Again, nobody is going to see any of that keyword stuff but you. So just make sure that what's there is easily searchable, and relates to the subject matter of the case study or testimonial. And then you're going to, in the settings, make sure the page is shown by link only and that there is no header or footer. And then you're going to format a section that includes the copy, images, etc., however you want to set it up, so that you have your case study or testimonial there in that section. And then we save it. And then on whatever page that you have now or might use in the future, you can drop this and others like it onto those pages. So into sales pages, onto about me or work with me pages, on product focused pages where maybe this is a testimonial of somebody who is using a particular product you recommend. Whatever that looks like, you're going to use this copy in another page feature, which is in pages, to be able to add this. So let's go take a quick look at what that looks like. We go to pages in AttractWell. We'll add a new one. I'm going to go blank here just to keep things very simple. I'm going to go to settings, and remember this is a case study, or I'm going to say testimonial. This will be a testimonial. Testimonial, realtor, sleep, stress, yoga, supplements, right? Just like I did before. Again, nobody's going to see this because we're going to click right here, by link only. No header, no footer. Done. Okay, now we can create this section. And again, we'll be able to use this over and over again throughout our website, wherever we want it. So I'm going to use a 2-column section so that I can have, and there's 2 different ways you can do this. This 2-column explainer right here, I particularly like if you wanted to do a case study, but you would need to format a nice image for the background. But just to keep it simple, I'm going to go right like this. I'm going to use this 2-column wide first column. And right here, I might put in the photo of the client. How about this one? Oh, let me delete that one down there. And then I can put in the testimonial here. Right, so I can put that in. I can add any kind of formatting that I want to it. I can go ahead and double check and see what it'll look like on different devices. So there's desktop. Obviously, this isn't beautiful. And you can obviously mess around with this to the extent that you wish. But just for the sake of you understanding how this works, we'll just take him down just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so here's her testimonial. There's her photo. I'm going to save this. And then maybe I want to go to my work with me page. So I'm going to go back to pages. And I have a work with me, I believe. Perfect. So here's my work with me discovery call. And what I can do now is find where, this is a template actually, find where I want a testimonial to go, which maybe I'll want to put that before or after my call to action. In this case, I'm going to put it after. So I just hit the little plus sign right here because this is where I want it to show up right after this call to action. Hit this little plus sign, copy in another page. And here again, this was testimonial. Here it is. Copy in. And there it is right there. And you can use this over and over and over again on as many pages on your website as you like. So you don't have to go and create a brand new section to put in a testimonial. You can just have that testimonial at the ready to use wherever you'd like on any page on your website. All right, so let's go and take a quick look at how we might set up page forms as well as our progress tracker, and then I'll take any questions that you guys have. If you want to walk through anything together, we could certainly do that as well. Now, remember, we do have in-depth training on both of these topics, but if I go to add right here, I'm going to go again, create a blank page, because this is going to really be for the purpose of a form. So if I go here, I'm going to go to settings, and this is going to be new client intake. And this is going to be available by link only. I'm not going to show a header or footer. This is something that's happening inside of the funnel. This person's already in contact with me, and we really need them to only focus on the form that's on this page. So under leads, message shown in lead capture form, I'm going to say, I'm looking forward to working with you. And then fill out the form below to get started. After you're done, you'll be redirected to a page where you can book with me. You can book our first call. How about that? Okay, so I'm going to center this. I'll make this one a little bit bigger. Perfect. Okay, now we need our form. It already has name, email, phone. You can choose to remove phone, keep it, etc. Let me click add field a few times because we do need to ask a good number of questions here. We are going to be using long text, I think, for the majority of these, because what we're really wanting to do here is to get their sort of narrative input, right? So however it's most appropriate for you to ask in context, right? So what is your number one goal in working together? Or what is the number one problem you want to solve, right? That would be another thing to put here. Require the answer. How long has this been an issue? Again, require the answer. And you're going to be asking these questions. So what have you tried? You're going to list all of this out. Let's see, are there any other problems that have come up as a result of having this one? All right, I'm just gonna remove these others just for the sake of time here. But ask your questions, put long text here in the field. After they register, if what we did was promise to send them to a page to book with us, then we will send them the page to book with us. So here's book a call. And then we would send maybe some kind of confirmation email if you already have that, right? So this might be, I don't know if intake is something I've already done in this account. It's not, but you would have some kind of a campaign here that maybe sends them to this page as well to book a call with you if this is how you're setting up that intake. Add your tags as appropriate, and we'll click done here. We need to create a section to display that. I'm going to use a one column section, and I'm going to put form inside of brackets. Oops. And I'm going to center this. And then under settings, leads, I'm going to show the form on the page. Click done, and let's go preview that. Here, of course, we are able to ask all of these questions and obtain the answers. And what happens is when your lead fills out this form, or when your client in this case fills out the form, all of this information is going to show up in their contact, right? So in their past actions of your contact, you're going to be able to obtain this information from them that they have entered on that page. So that's going to be these notes. It's going to be note. Here we go. So in this case, we've got the questions and their answers, and you'll be able to see that historical data here. And then, of course, moving on to the next thing that you might be using to track progress is you can track metrics like these. You can actually see that this is quite robust, what's here. And oops, you can track really whatever metrics you like. So in the case of that example that we gave, we're going to be tracking specific numbers like the sleep score percentage, average over a week, maybe averaging over a week, waking mood, yes or no, did I take my supplements every morning? Is it 5 out of 7 days or 3 out of 7 days, etc. right? So you can track compliance, and you can track the actual data that's coming from things like wearables and from the scale, etc. in this contact progress as well. And depending on how you have this set up, you may enter these things yourself. But if you have a member area and someone has access to your member area who is your client, they can actually go into the My Account section and make edits and inputs there as well. So you aren't the only one that is tracking that data. All right, so you've got a couple of different ways to do this. Very interested to see if you guys have questions about your unique use case. I know a lot of you guys, I see some familiar names here on the call. I know a lot of you guys are coaches. And so what I've described basically exactly is what I would recommend for you to basically integrate into the work that you're already doing, to be able to gather more data that you can then use to show proof so that you can get more clients. That is the one thing most of us don't do. Right? We don't show proof. Maybe we feel weird about it. Maybe we feel like we don't have enough of it. But the wild thing is that like it's right there. It's right there for the taking. If you've had one client, you have enough case study and story to get 10 more clients. So imagine if you just incorporate this as a practice into what you're already doing, how much more proof you can have to support your ability to close and your ability to engage in really effective marketing to get more people onto your list. And of course, get more people signed up to work with you. All right, Peggy says in the Q&A, what's better, sending a confirmation email by campaign after a lead registers or completes a form, or sending them to a confirmation page? It's really not an either or, Peggy. My recommendation is always both, because you never know if someone loses connection, for instance, they click a link, they submit the form, etc., and their connection drops out. They never see that second page. That's why in a lot of cases, I don't usually recommend sending anyone to anything other than a confirmation page or an authority page after they've opted in for something. Because if you send them straight to the thing that they asked for, in the event that they, for whatever reason, technology happens, for whatever reason they don't get that thing, then that's not a good experience for them. They associate that negatively with you, and so on. So I recommend doing both. So send them to the booking page, or send them to a confirmation page or the booking page, because they are, they're a client. You don't have to gatekeep your booking page, but also whatever you sent them to, if it's an actionable page, email that to them as well. So yes, both. Send them an email confirmation to send them to the page that you want them to go to. And in the case of this being your client, on the off chance that they've entered like their email address wrong, it's still a good idea to send them to the confirmation page to tell them to check their email. Because if they didn't get that email, that means they put their email in wrong. That means you don't have that data from them on their contact. All right, Catherine, I see like I see an emoji of your hand up in the chat. Do you want to chat, or are you and Peggy working out? You joining her program? That's kind of awesome. Yeah, if anybody has questions, if you want to work through anything together, or if you want to see something perhaps that you maybe haven't seen quite enough of for this to click, feel free, pop your hand up or head over into the Q&A and let me know. We also don't today have anyone signed up for a live work review. So if you are looking for some help, we do have some space left for that before we close for the day. Thank you, Catherine, and I wish you the best of luck. That's awesome. Peggy's got a really cute website too. All right, it sounds like you guys have gotten this pretty clear. I'm excited to see what you do with this. Do any of you have, maybe just let me know in the chat, do you have anything in place currently where maybe you are gathering some of this information, at the very least an intake? I think a lot of us do intake. We assess where someone is when we first get started with them. But what do we do after that? Are you looking only for the big picture? Or are we tracking so that we can really show the wins along the way? I hope that this has helped you to kind of reframe what that looks like structurally for you and how you show up with your clients, I think that you'll also find that your clients will have a higher satisfaction rate if you do this, because again, they're able to associate the positive changes that they see, even if it's not the big one yet, they're able to associate those positive changes to making the decision to work with you, which is always a powerful thing. Let's see. But AttractWell make a couple of member area templates that we could choose from. I shut down just looking at gray boxes in the back office. So that's kind of a difficult thing to do, just because, okay, so there are vaults, that you can get via a resource bundle or classes, just the same. But a member area is something that should be branded to you really similarly to your website. That said, and I'm not sure who I'm speaking to because it just says Zoom user, I would love to invite you to go to attractwell.com/work review, and let's do this on one of these calls together, because we have templates for the visual elements. So if you need a template to make sure that the cover photo is the right size or that the logo is proportional, we actually have those. But then, the stuff that you fill in and what you say, I get that like a blank canvas can be a little overwhelming, but that's something we could definitely work on together live on a call if you'd like. Let's see, TL, how do we keep the testimonials coming in after the first cohort? So really what you want to do, if you're, especially if this is a first cohort, an initial launch of something that you're doing, you want to pursue this with everyone, right? And so since you are doing a group, I don't know if you are going to be offering any like individualized, like I'm showing up and, chatting with you kind of thing on any consistent basis. Obviously factor this data gathering in, right? Establish those metrics. If you have a group, maybe establish metrics for the whole group. Take a little bit of time, go in and set up that progress tracker, provided, of course. I mean, if we're talking about a dozen people, go set up the progress tracker for them and let them go input their information. Or this might even be easier for you. You can, in your discussion room, maybe affect some kind of accountability structure, right? So like, we're going to be checking in to confirm that we did this every week for this period of time. So leverage the sort of social proof structure of being in a group to kind of allow that accountability to happen there. And then that way, you're still tracking some metrics, and then do that intake survey, just like the one that I showed you. And then maybe do one once a week, depending on how long this cohort lasts and runs, or maybe you do one at the end. Definitely do one at the end, beginning and end, 100%. Have them say, this is the problem I came in with. These are the things that I did. And then, this is where I am now, right? Do that throughout, but definitely at the beginning and the end, using the survey feature. If you can have conversations with them individually, or have a way to kind of track them throughout, especially again, it's good for you to put in the work, even if it is more work in the first cohort, to get that sort of individual feedback and those stories. It's going to help you sell the next one, right? So put a little bit extra time into that. Okay, Peggy says, since you're on the forms feature, how do you get a multiple choice without making choose one as one of the choices in a list? Pick one. Okay. So I would use the radio buttons. Yeah, if you don't want that, use the radio button option, which is, let's just go to Pages real quick here and look at that. Oh, you just thought of the answer to your own question. So here, let me go back in here and I'll show you under the settings, leads, fields. Here we go. We're going to go add a field, and then let's use a list pick one. And then in that list, you add your items, and then that's not going to give you a choose one. It's just going to give you the ones that you want to make available. The client would find the spot to enter their tracking info in the My Account section of your member area when they're logged in. And I actually go into this with great detail and lots of screenshots in that additional training about the progress tracker. I think that that would be an important one to check out before you start using it, because there are a number of different ways you can use it, and you want to be able to follow the settings there. And it is a pretty brief training. We get through that information pretty quickly. I'm not sure that I am in an account right now in the member area where I would be able to show you that though. But I do actually have those screenshots and I show you how to do it in that training that I mentioned. I could just show you really briefly an example of where they would go. You're just probably not going to see that information there. So yeah, when you're logged in, you go to My Account. And actually, well, yeah, I'm logged in as an administrator. So I was set up for demonstrating that very specifically on that training. So definitely check that out. But they'll be able to see a My Account. And when they click this, they'll be able to see a progress tracker that looks very similar to the one that you have on their contact card. And they, if you enable it, are able to see it or see and edit it. Okay, Catherine says, I'm curious that over 20 years of designing and launching websites for my services, I've only received 3 or 4 client inquiries, even with SEO according to Google guidance and website platform service. So I just wonder about the utility of this, of testimonials or of SEO. Let me see, 3 websites, testimonials and all. Yeah, so testimonials are more of a seal the deal thing than gather people to pay attention thing, right? So it could be, and obviously with this little information, it's going to be really difficult for me to kind of diagnose like what could be the cause there. Obviously, I think traffic is probably a significant issue there, and whether or not that traffic is targeted or of the appropriate volume, et cetera. So a little hard to say where that's concerned, but yeah, like the testimonials and case studies are the thing that tips the scales, right? We already need to be leaning in the direction. They tip the scales. And honestly, for someone in this line of work, building your list is going to be the most important thing that you do. And then to that list, you email these case studies, right? You center these case studies as the narrative of the emails that you send. You put them in the content that goes onto your blog and onto social. And so coupled with the relevant you showing up stuff, right? So that would be your content, your connection, the value you're putting out there. You're adding this in as a punctuation of proof that you aren't just someone out there talking about what you know you can do, but you're someone who has proof that what you do works. So there's a bit more that goes into it. So yes, it is worth it. Yes, it is important. But there may be other reasons why the conversion isn't happening aside from the testimonials. Okay, my first batch of testimonials were for beta testers who got complimentary sessions. We recommend offering scholarships to a select few for the same on an annual basis, for example. Worried about the testimonial sections looking stale. No, that's your testimonials that's not stale. You're the only one that's reading that all the time. If anybody's studying your website like that, there's it's a them thing, not a you thing. So no, if your case studies and testimonials that you're sharing are relevant to the people that you're talking about them to on your website, to your list, on your social, then you're going to be sharing a lot of the same information all the time. If somebody doesn't respond to it, it doesn't matter, right? Like you're showing more and more proof that what you have works. Obviously, is it nice to have more? Yes. But do you need more than a couple to get 10 more clients? No. Right. And once you have 10 more clients, you might get a couple more really great ones that you want to use in your marketing. And it's all well and good. Greg, do you have any idea how many testimonials we have in our Slack channel of testimonials? It's like thousands, right?
Yeah, tons and
Yeah.
tons and tons.
Yeah. We have boatloads of them and we fall in love with some of them. And when we do, we'll maybe swap out something that we have that's maybe a little bit, we feel is a little less powerful, right? Or is communicating what we're trying to really build value into. We see that it maybe communicates a point more effectively than another one. So yeah, don't overthink it. use what you have and just focus on getting more great stories with the results you get for your clients, and then making sure that you are showing up enough, right? We follow the 80-20 rule with self-promotion, right? Because we want to make sure that people see us as being someone who is serving with value first. We don't want to just be a teacher, right? We want to be someone who is very clearly someone who offers a service or a product or something to that effect that helps get an important result that someone's looking for. The way that we do that is to use these case studies and testimonials in the way we add value and in the way that we promote. It's a punctuation for both, right? You're just presenting the same information differently. And just like I mentioned before, where we're looking at a case study is not just being about the achievement of an end result, but what we get along the way, right? Someone may go in and accidentally lose 15 pounds and feel great. And that's a story to tell that is separate from the fact that they're sleeping like a baby now, right? We don't have to jumble, like, so here's one client. If they got 17 different results from you, don't put those all into one testimonial. Create several case studies and testimonials for that you can use in different places in different ways, because it really is all about connecting the context with the person who's reading and considering maybe working with you. And of course, like whatever commonality they have with the person who's getting the result. Maybe they're looking for the same result. Maybe they have similar presenting circumstances. Maybe they have similar life stories, or whatever that case may be, right? So these are things that are reusable, not infinitely, but close. Awesome. Glad that that was a light bulb moment for you. Fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, if you guys, for instance, again, don't know your name, if you want to work together on your vault, attractwell.com/work review, that saves your seat in the second half of an upcoming call. We can sit together and work on this stuff. I've got Canva templates for you if you want to build out that vault. And by the way, these Canva templates and super simple, easy to follow step-by-step instructions. And I mean, super easy. These are short videos. You don't have to sit through an hour or even 30 minutes to do this. Go right over here to the Success Academy. Right over here to online resources and courses. This one right here, I feel like we should update this image with the GIF that I created for the course itself, because it's not just about online courses. This is how to build a program, a membership, a course, a community. All of this will teach you step by step how to set up your member area and everything in it for the specific use cases that you have in mind. And I literally have Canva templates that you can use. So it's the closest thing that you have to having like a templated member area or vault. And we walk through each of those steps very succinctly, so they're easy to follow. So I hope that helps you guys, and I certainly look forward to hearing about what you would like to learn next. Let us know, connect with us in our Facebook community, and of course, we look forward to seeing you next week, same time, back here on Office Hours. Have a great week, everybody.